Hello, it's Miss Coconut. How are you doing? I'm doing well. So today I want to talk about freezer spells. In essence, it's a great way to freeze time on a person or a situation. But of course, on this channel, we talk about money. I'm constantly trying to get everybody out the hole. So as I do things, I share with you. I've done this in the past. It completely works. But I know right now everyone is stressed about money. And let me tell you, if there was ever a time to get your credit on track, to pay down this debt, and stop living check to check, paycheck to paycheck, it is now. Credit card debt is some of the most overwhelming debt people can experience. Some people actually live off their credit cards, and that is such an out of control mechanism to deal with the state of your finances. So I'm going to encourage you to start paying off that smallest credit card debt and then graduate to each debt until you are finally out of debt. So many people have done this. I myself did this and I'm almost done. I didn't really even have a lot of debt, honestly, to tell y'all the truth. So it was a little easier probably for me than some of you that may be listening to this video, but you can do it. So many people have done it. I'm going to recommend Dave Ramsey. He's all over YouTube. He has like, I think it's a 6-step program. You start on baby step number 1, which is getting $1,000 in emergency savings. This is going to sound crazy because some of you may feel you're not in a position to do this, but follow people like him so that you can at least begin to understand how you can get a grip on your condition. I'm calling it a condition because, see, this world system is set up to keep us as slaves to debt, and you have to want to fight to get yourself out of debt and break those poverty binds that are on your family. Okay, so we're going to talk about freezer spells today. Before you start any spell of any kind, you want to do your spiritual cleanse. All right, take your spiritual bath or shower, wash your hands, clean the area that you're working in. For this freezer spell, you're going to need 2 plastic baggies. You need a plastic baggie to put the bill in, and then you want to put that into the other plastic baggie. You're going to need some spring water. Typically, you don't want to use tap water because it's considered murky water, so you wouldn't use it for this type of work. You can use tap water for other type of work, though. The bill or a photocopy of the bill. Give it a little zhuzh. You're going to use a compelling herb. So I have a mixture of cinnamon, master of the woods for mastery over this condition, and 5-finger grass because that's good to grant you favors. So you definitely want to have 5-finger grass on hand at all times, especially during these times when we need a come up. Considered a container spell, and that's where you're putting objects into a container to basically charge the atmosphere to get the work done that you want to do. So it's like creating in a lab an experiment, right? You have to have it in a particular type of dish that has a controlled environment. Same kind of thing. When you decide to do spells, take into consideration the planetary alignment, okay? So you may want to work this spell on a Monday because Monday is associated with the moon and the moon is associated with water. And since it's a freezer spell, you are using water, so that is an option. You can also decide to do this on a Wednesday because that's associated with Mercury, and Mercury rules trade and commerce, okay? And communication. And so because we want to talk with someone after we do this spell about reducing our payments, about getting a car note waived, about getting a fee dismissed, about getting a best rate, things of that nature. So you want to do this first, and then you want to reach out to the creditor, okay? So Wednesday could work for that reason. Or you could work this on Jupiter's day, which is Thursday, my favorite day. I always say I get the most sales on Thursday. I promise you. So that day is always lit for me. If you work it on Thursday, you're working with Jupiter's energy, which I always tell you when I talk about Jupiter, is that Jupiter gives you more of what you have because it is the planet of expansion. So take that into consideration. It gives you more of what you have. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, but it is a good energy to work with, all right? Okay, so now that you have assembled the physical items you will need, feel free to substitute for whatever you don't have. Use something else, charge it. There are other herbs you can use. You don't have to use a plastic bag. You could use an ice tray. You could use some kind of plastic container. So I, always say go with what you have, okay? That's the most important part to any spell. You go with what you have first. And then you work with what's going to be the most powerful symbolically. Okay, so we did all of that. Now here we come to being open to the universe and the ways that the universe will work. For example, you don't want to call your mortgage company and say, hey, I'm falling behind on my mortgage, and the only thing I can think to do is not pay y'all for 3 months, and then maybe at the end of the 3 months, I can pay you the 3 months plus the 4th month that I will be owing. You don't do that. You be open to the universe. That means you're open to whatever channel and method that the universe is going to work in your favor, okay? You don't want to limit yourself. You don't want to call the doctor's office and say, hey, I can pay $50 on my medical bill, because for all you know, HIPAA has kind of worked with the medical industry and the creditors to actually allow you free copays for 3 months. And they're going to backdate it. So it's retroactive all the way to January. You just never know. So you don't want to go in with, this is what I could do. What you're going to say is, this is my case, this is my situation, especially now due to the situation that we find ourselves in with this pandemic. You want to say, this is what my situation, this is what I'm facing. How can you help me? Okay? And don't be prideful. You tell them, I'm a single mother. I'm a struggling father. I'm supporting my family on one income now. So-and-so got reduced, laid off, etc., etc. Put it out on the table and let them decide what they can do for you. So be open to the universe and however it works, knowing that it's going to unfold in your favor. Step 1 to the freezer spell is write on the bill your intent. Charge it with what you want them to do, okay? This is not what you're going to ask them to do. You're going to say, this is what I need to happen in this situation. I want this fee waived, and I want the penalties to go away and not to be counted against my driving record, okay? This is what you want to happen. When you actually call them, you're going to explain to them the situation and see what they will tell you is an option for you. And even when they tell you, well, we can not put it on your record, but we can't waive the penalty, then you give them a sob story. You say, listen, this is what's going on. I absolutely can't. Is there any way you can do something? I don't know, reduce it. I mean, can you do, this is now when you start to get into your negotiations, okay? First, you give them a sympathetic ear, see what they're going to do, and then you plead your case, and then see what happens after that. Next, you're going to take your herbs, your compelling herbs. You're going to crush it a little bit in your hand to release the potency, and you're going to sprinkle that over your bill as you think about, envision your bill going away, being reduced, being expunged, etc., etc. Put all of your power and intent and might into this part. After you have infused the bill with your herbal intent, you're going to fold it up small and place the bill inside the first baggie. And in that baggie, you're actually going to pour in a little bit of your water, your clean water, your holy water, your compelling water, whatever water you got except tap water. You're going to place that in the back of it so that it's not completely saturating the bill. Okay, over time it may happen, but you want to kind of have it still easily legible, all right? So I did just a little bit of water behind the bill, just enough to fill it, and then I placed that baggie sealed into the next baggie, and now that packet is what I'm going to place into my freezer and freeze it. And then I like to say, go ahead and let it sit overnight and get frozen, and then make your call all nice and fresh the next morning. As you can see, I have mine literally sitting on ice because it's on my ice pack. But I'm going to push it into the back of my freezer where it's not readily seen, okay? And you're going to leave it in the freezer until you get the desired effect. Basically, why you put something on ice is because you want to delay it. It's because you want to preserve that moment of time, okay? And what we're trying to preserve is the fees from going up. The interest, okay? That's what we're trying to delay here. So the penalties. So you want to put it on ice, let it sit in the recesses of the freezer until you get your answer that you want, and then you take it out and discard it. You could discard it in the trash. You can discard it at the crossroads, whatever your normal discarding rituals may be. And the rest of that water, go ahead and drink it and mind your business today. Thank you for listening. As always, Shrim Bezi.